Hello and welcome back to another video. The last time that we made a video was like 3 weeks ago, and you saw us starting the motor, the V8 motor, which was on the pallet there. And unfortunately, what happened that day is that the batteries died for the cameras, and to keep on rolling the cameras we couldn't. But soon after, we mounted the engine straight into the engine bay, right? Which is what you're seeing. It took us about 60 seconds. I mean, it's a Toyota. So pretty much when you're doing an engine swap on a Toyota, especially vehicles which are pretty much in the same family, the engine swap is not going to be a very difficult thing to do. So it took us 60 seconds just to get this engine inside. So it's sitting in, and when you look at it, it will look as if it actually belongs right in this engine bay. Nothing looks like anything has been modified there. It just looks like it is at home. So that was done, and ever since, I guess I've also been quite busy, unable to actually make any progress. But what we then did at the end of the day is getting this radiator that you're looking at. You can see here, we ended up putting the turbocharger here. Now, the story is I thought inside there was going to be a lot of space. I actually thought there was going to be a lot of space inside the engine bay. Unfortunately, there wasn't any space. Right? I actually don't understand how people are doing it in the UK, because you find out that this engine bay is almost the same as the Lexus IS200 or IS300. But when these guys do V8 swaps, it looks as though there is a lot of space. I don't know what they're cutting, right, to create space in there, but pretty much I didn't want to cut, so I just wanted it to sit pretty much where it is seated right now. And just because there was no space, the agreement was that I think this is probably the best place to put the turbocharger by the wheel. So obviously exhaust gases will be coming from behind here, so we're just going to channel them and into the engine bay, and then under, and then exhaust gases go out. That's pretty much how we're going to channel it. Another crazy idea that was coming in my mind was just making the exhaust gases be short on the right of the, just out of the wheel there, but that would really be crazy. That's for sure. That would really be crazy, but pretty much that's what we're going to do in terms of routing of the exhaust. So at the moment, what I'm currently working on is we're trying to make, because pretty much the exhaust on a V8 Toyota like this will be coming and being short to the back of the vehicle, right? But just because we've put the turbo here, it means that the exhausts have to come through the turbo here, and then they can be short elsewhere. So pretty much we've changed from the stock manifolds. Okay. So we're ditching this. We're going to be ditching this, and we're going for a log style manifold. You can see from the picture that you're seeing on the screen. So we're actually starting to do work on it. I think so far, if you look in the engine bay, I'd already tagged up a manifold. It hasn't been fully welded, but we tagged it up. Pretty much what it is, because I managed to get this flange. Somebody sold this flange, right? That's the flange. So this is going to be a log style manifold, right? This is what it's going to look like pretty much. This we just did some welds here, so it needs to be finished off today. So pretty much what's happening here is both banks are going to be shooting exhaust gases forward, and then we're going to channel them to the turbo, and then from the turbo goes out, as I had mentioned. That's pretty much the job that we need to do here. So after we have done that, I think we would have, I think probably this is the most this is the most difficult part of the build in my view. Getting this sorted, getting this dialed in proper is probably going to be the difficult part. Otherwise the rest is really easy. I mean, the gearbox is waiting with the parts, everything is waiting, the mounts, the engine just set in, even the radiator, we put an oversized radiator for it to cool, and it just fits straight in, no problems whatsoever. Well, there's minimum modifications, but everything just bolted and went through in. We use the same setup on both the other cars, the Mark II and the Chaser, the Mark II and the Alteza. So we know this radiator is actually going to be very good, and we know its performance. Probably the only thing that's going to be changed is that simply because there is no more sufficient space, we're going to be putting Mishimoto slim fans. That's what we're going to be running here. But otherwise, I know the performance of that radiator, I know it's very good. So this is where we are at today. We're actually going to be doing some fabrication here. Like I said, we need to make it a log manifold. The other side is okay. I'm just left with this side. Of course, I said the other side is tacked up. This one needs to be properly welded. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I hope. I'm trying to shoot for this. This is what I'm trying to shoot for. Obviously, I'm a beginner. I'm a beginner welder. So, I'm not the best welder in the world, but I'm trying to shoot for the quality, this type of quality of weld. So, but obviously, I'm not going to make this kind of quality because, like I said, I'm still a beginner at this thing. But I will see how it's going to come out. Okay, exactly. Okay, so I'm done with joining this whole thing together. Now it's now one piece. I'm left with just putting on this flange. That's what I'm left with doing. But so far, it looks good so far. I couldn't record what I really wanted to, whilst I was doing the welding process and so forth, to really talk about what I was doing here, but just because this garage is like a tin can, as water was raining, there was so much noise, so I had to play music in the background. So pretty much this is where we are. I had to back purge so that inside it doesn't oxide, and for some reason they say that it will maintain, it's going to help with the strength of the weld by making sure that there is no oxygen inside here. That's why we're running this back purge hose. So I'm going to open. It's still hot, but whilst they are not the prettiest welds, I believe they will do the job. Right? They're probably not the prettiest welds, but I believe they will do the job. So. Hello? It's too hot. So if you look inside, you can see that the welds penetrated, and because we're running back purge, you can see that there is no oxidation inside. You can see gold, purple, and whatever, all those nice colors inside, which is good because they need to indicate that this is going to be a strong thing. So here I had to be very careful because I was now joining stainless steel to mild steel. The flange is actually mild steel. So I'm aware that these are different metals and they react differently to heat. You're going to find out that stainless steel tends to sort of like warp when excessive heat is applied to it, compared to how mild steel behaves. So the filler wire that you're going to use when joining, you actually have to be careful because if you just use maybe stainless steel wire or something like that, or mild steel wire, you're going to find out that the cracks are going to start forming by the joint there. So I had to be very careful and I had to do my research, and I found out that the correct filler wire for this kind of application was the 312. They call it a 312L, and previously when I did the text um, on the other manifold flange, which is actually on the vehicle as we speak, I think I might have used one which wasn't. I think maybe I must have used a 309 if I'm not mistaken, or 308. I'm not too sure. But then what I really noticed is as time went on, there were some cracks forming, and simply because this is an exhaust manifold, it's going to be exposed to a lot of heat cycles. So you definitely want something that will pretty much hold through those different heat cycles. So that's the filler wire that I'm using here, in case you're wondering, in case you're even thinking if it is even possible to actually weld stainless steel to mild steel. Yes, it is possible. There's a special filler wire which they recommend that you use, and that's exactly what we're using here.